I'd like to call to order the City's Commission meeting of Monday, August 2nd, 2021. Steve, could you take roll call, please?
Yes, I show Carolyn Marty, Larry Mack, Shel Markgraf, Jane Mady-Hulke, John Forward, Dick Saboth, Gary Klimek, and Steve Balza as present.
Thank you. I'd like to take time to introduce one of our new commissioners, Carolyn Marty. She was appointed by the City Council on July 20th to fill the unexpired term of Jan Dolka. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Do you know how long this term will be? Does anybody know?
I'm not sure.
I have it in office, but I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter, does it?
Till 2035.
That's what I thought. I was hoping for that, T.
Okay. Okay. The approval of the minutes, has everybody had a chance to read over the minutes? Did they receive them? Are there any corrections or additions or changes? If not, is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Our financial report, I don't believe anything has really changed on the financial report. It shows that right now we have a remaining budget of minus 440, but our balance sits at, just a minute. $12,806.98 currently. We also took in $159.10 from the Brat stand for the tips. And so I'll be turning that in when I get back in a couple weeks. I'll give it to her.
Just tips?
And just tips, $159.10. And I want to thank everybody that did it last Friday. I really appreciate it. And the Friday before, Larry Mack and Carolyn and those that helped during the Friday one, or Saturday one.
Saturday, the blast.
Yeah, the blast, because it was greatly appreciated. So we need a motion for the financial report to approve.
One question regarding the prop booth. Is that the combined days of tips? or-
Yes, it's combined.
That's 2 days tips?
That's 2 days tips.
Okay, thank you.
But actually, you guys last Saturday had $98 and some cents, so almost.
Friday.
On Friday, you had almost $100 in tips. So, very good job. So, I'll turn that in and that'll be included in the next one, all right? So can I have a motion for,
Move to accept.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we have some exciting news. I got this email when we want to talk about the Cultural Exchange Program. Noah, we reached out to him, and Noah, if you remember, is the one that we selected for almost 2 years ago, shade ago. And he said, "Hello, Lisa, this is great news. I would be greatly honored if the commission would still consider me as a candidate to send to Germany. I would also be overjoyed if they decided to send me. With that being said, I would be interested in traveling to Germany in 2022. So we have somebody that we've already selected. We've reached out. He is very interested. So we won't have to go through the selection process for 2022. And she did, Lisa and I talked quite a bit. She did send out an email to Dorothea, and we got a response that they were out of the office. They must be moving their office. And so we won't be able to talk to her until Monday, November 11th. Wow. So then we'll know what the status is. It isn't going to happen this year, though.
With regard to the exchange, a lot happens in 2 years, and I'm glad that Noah's still interested. I do think we should have
candidate?
another interview and go over his ability. You could forget a lot in 2 years. I don't know what he was doing to be sharp on his ability to speak German 2 years ago, but that could have waned significantly over time. And the other fact is, what's his career channel? So we can give that.
Okay.
information out.
We can do that, and we can also, in some, maybe it's a good idea to have an alternate in case something would happen. So in order to do that, we'll wait and hear from Dorothea for one, okay? Because I think it's really important to know where they stand on the other side, okay? As far as coming to the United States. And then, once we reach that, we can discuss when we want to set up putting out the notice again, selecting candidates, and going through the interview process again. But I really think we should give Noah a really good chance, because he's really, really interested and has been interested.
Can you recap Noah? I don't know him at all.
Noah, I'd have to actually go back into our minutes, but he was at MLC, and he was studying to be a pastor at that time. He does have some German background, and has family that comes from Germany, the lineage and stuff. Why don't I reach out to Lisa, and we'll get a copy of all that for the next meeting, so everybody can review it. It has been a long time. I haven't reviewed it since we selected him, and obviously will be almost 2 years, so we can do that. Is everybody okay with that on the commission? And that'll give the new members a opportunity to know a little bit about Noah as well. Steve?
I believe last time we had 2 candidates. Was that just a one-time exception when we sent 2?
Yes, it was. It was a one-time exception. Because we did that because originally they had somebody that they were going to send 2 from Ulm. And so we decided that we would reciprocate and send 2 over, and then their second candidate backed out because of something with his job related, he couldn't get off. So we only ended up getting Annika and sending 2 over at the time.
Is Noah interested in pursuing religious, further religious training, or distribution of same once he's there? What is his thought process?
He was open to working in a restaurant. He was pretty open to anything. He didn't he didn't have a specific line. He said he was willing to do anything that would enhance his ability or fill into the program. So anything from being in a restaurant to food to a job, he really was really open for his experience. So I'll bring all that. I'll get it all from Lisa. I'll get copies for everybody on the commission. Give you an opportunity, or have it sent out in the next agenda, so you have a chance to even just look at his history and why we selected him. I can't even remember who was on the commission at that time, on the selection commission. I'd have to look way back. It's been a while. We all know. So it is a good thing for us, okay? Is there any other concerns over the exchange program besides that?
Question on our time frame. So do we typically select in late fall or early winter? When is that typically?
In January.
In January is usually
Yeah.
selection?
So if we find out in November, we have a window of opportunity to put the notice out and put it in the paper and get our candidates lined up, and then do our interview process beforehand. So we'll have time.
And as a follow-up to that, are we now allowing them also to somewhat give us a time frame when they're available to travel? Can they select summer or fall? Is that an option for them?
It is. I don't think we've closed that window. We have to, of course, work with Dorothea and see what they have available and what their time slots are. Yeah. And I was kind of worrying because I had been communicating with her as well, and I hadn't heard anything for about 2 months. So with COVID and stuff, we had been communicating. And we can reach out to her and see what their thoughts are as well. But obviously, they're not answering their email. It just comes back that they are in the transition of moving, and they won't be available until November 11th. So we'll just have to be patient and wait. Yeah. All right, new business. Lisa brought up the discussion of future brass stands, fundraising, volunteers, and scheduled one event instead of two. So obviously, we have money in the account. We get so much every year from the city as well. Do we want to continue doing the broad stand? And if we do we want to go to one day instead of two? What are your thoughts on it? I mean, I don't know that, I guess I should have looked back and been better prepared to see how much we actually make off those broad stands. But we do fairly well.
It used to be $300 or $400
Yeah.
we'd pull in a
Yeah.
time. And Tuesdays and Wednesdays are always better, middle of the week. We
Yeah.
always made more money on that.
And this year was kind of different because all of a sudden it was open and everybody was signing up.
Right.
I mean, when I went to look at the calendar, there was like, you had to pick and it was, because they
I would
hadn't done
certainly
it for.
suggest that if we do it, we skip Saturdays.
Yeah,
Just, we don't want Saturdays, and if that's all that's available next year, then I guess we don't do it. I think the only reason that Lisa is concerned about participation is that the second date was incorrect. The people who had booked that date showed up. It wasn't ours, so we had to really scramble.
I know.
That's probably the reason for her frustration and concern that we can't staff it for 2 days should we wish to. And it was completely because of the communication challenge on the date actually was
I know.
supposed to
And she
happen.
apologized. I mean, we had a long discussion. She felt really bad that she put the 24th on there, and that it got mixed up. And part of it probably was my fault too. I didn't catch it and I've been really busy and just didn't, I assumed it was right. It had been posted. It had been coming out for quite a while. I know you made the comment, Michelle, and I looked at it and it just didn't kind of click in my brain. I guess we could go to one day and we could try a Tuesday or Wednesday. And,
You said we had $12,000, right?
yeah,
So it doesn't sound like there's any immediate
No,
need for it.
no.
Plus, when we manned it in the old days, that's me talking about, because I haven't been on committee for 2 years, we used to have the room filled with the friends, and so I would get the paper on that day, and then I'd make them sign up right away, so before anything happened, and none of that got to happen this last time.
no, and I
so-
think part of that's because of COVID.
Exactly,
We haven't had anybody
exactly.
in here, our meetings were Zoom for a long time. And I think a lot of organizations are feeling the repercussions of COVID and how it's impacting their volunteers. Because people have gotten out of it for almost over a year and it's slowly starting to get back into it. And it's going to take a while before we see people.
We don't need the money, so I'd say let's not worry about it right now. That
Yeah.
seems to make,
My only concern is if we don't do it for a couple of years, will we be able to get back in when we want to do it?
I don't know, I don't know.
And
how
that's
that
my
works.
only concern.
And we used to do 4, I think some years, we did 4 days.
I know.
Spread out over the summer, so we had lots of money coming
Yeah.
in.
So that's my one concern that we need to think about. If we don't do this and we let it pass, I think by doing it one day a year would be probably better than just not doing it at all. And then if we need to do more, we can always add more because we're always on that roster. And we get that notification when it's time to sign up and we can get out there and we can get our dates. Once we go off from that, we won't get the notification that it's time to sign up for Broadstand. And by the time we probably find out, it'll be too late. That's my concern. And, I mean,
Plus, we have large signs everywhere to put up.
yeah, we have
need to
new
use them.
signs, they've been redone, so
Yes,
they
they
look
look
really
good.
nice. They stand like they're supposed to instead
Yes.
of the opposite way, so. And thanks very much to
As
Eddie
long
for,
as we remember where they're stashed.
yeah. Right now, they're at my house, okay? And they'll stay there. They were at Bob Webb's, and I knew they were at Bob Webb's previous to that. And we can bring them here to the city, it just seems it was easier to have them there, because then we don't have to worry about getting them and moving them again and stuff, so that's fine. We'll work on that once it gets closer to the next one.
I think last I looked at the schedule, you were the only person on there
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
We wound up with enough staffing to get her done, so.
And I appreciate it. So let's shoot for one day next year,
Do we need a motion for that?
Do we need a motion? I think we should have a motion to,
I'd move that we'd go to one day and that we'd have a preference for Tuesday or Wednesday in summer of 2022.
I'll second that motion.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Otherwise, we need to consider an alternate meeting date for September, Monday, November 6th, because it falls as Labor Day. Okay? So would we be available the following Monday, which is September 13th at 5:15 PM? Is everybody okay with that? Anybody have anything going on? That's like, for me, light years out. But if I have it on my calendar, it'll be fine. Because I don't want to skip if we don't have to. That would be the second Monday of the month. All those in favor?
Aye.
So, any other discussion? Yes.
From a new business standpoint, I've noticed in visiting other communities on the European side, I think I've seen it in a couple of towns in the United States as I have been fortunate to travel. But for sure in Ulm and Neu-Ulm, when you enter those communities, they have signs posted like street signs, sister cities, partners with. When you enter Neu-Ulm, it says Ulm and New Ulm, Minnesota. And we have the financial wherewithal to pull this off here in town. And I would like to propose that we sign the 4 main gateways into New Ulm, excluding the 2 Highway 13s, with the sign saying, "Proud Sister Cities Partners of Ulm and Neu-Ulm, Germany." The pecking order in getting this accomplished would be if this board feels it's appropriate, we bring it to the city council to see if it's an acceptable issue from their standpoint. I've done some research on the cost of the signs. The mock-up, the first markup, proof looks like that. My thought might be that we make it 2 lines to read, because that's easier when you're zipping down the road, and have it a longer sign. The signs would look similar to the brown informational signs that you see on Broadway that point to Herman Heights and MLC and the rec center and things like that. That's what it would look like. It could be white on blue or green as well. The signs themselves, the initial quote was $73 and some cents, $73 and some odd cents for one sign. And it would take 2 poles to hold it up. Our city department would charge $30 a pole. I don't know if there would be a labor charge from the city to install them. So we're under $150 a sign. I would like to move that we pursue the signage issue on our 4 gateways into New Ulm and set a budget of $150 a sign. That's my motion.
Dick, I'm just thinking out loud that before this, the council can't just direct to do these signs. We'd have to get approval of our city engineer first, and our city engineer is gonna have to talk to MinDOT.
I've already talked to MinDOT, and they said
Okay.
if it's but goes behind the brick sign, let's say we're coming in on 37, that is far enough off the right of way so that it's a green light. But I have I've talked to 3 people at the DOT, and once we get an affirmative from city staff and then the council, I don't see a problem.
Okay, Dick. And the 37 sign is being relocated and moved.
Yeah, because they're doing a roundabout there,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, so.
timely.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Or discussion?
Need a second for discussion.
Have a second?
I'll second a motion.
All right, discussion?
When I was working at the chamber, we had all kinds of nice, I'm for it, I'll tell you that up front, but I will raise this. When I was at the chamber, we had Lions Club, Optimist Club, Sertoma, Welcome to Town. I like those. It tells me it's an active town when I come in, there's all these organizations happening. But that did, my liking it didn't stop it. All of them were taken down. Last I knew, they were stored in the basement of the chamber. Wonder if they don't see this as a revival of that. You know what, I'm just. When I worked at the chamber.
It's not a chamber issue, though.
No, it's not. None of that was, but that's where that became the storage place for all of that. So I'll say, let's be alert to that. I don't know how we can counter that thinking.
Is the proposal a $600 budget total for the 4 signs? And if so, is that sufficient? If we're, seems pretty tight based on the numbers you received, I would suggest if we're gonna move forward with it, we might bump that up, and I'd rather be under budget than over, just my personal preference.
Oh, I'm fine with a higher number. I do not dispute the potential need for it, but at this point in time, I feel comfortable with the quotes that I've received.
And can I ask where the quotes are for the signs? Who did you?
The sign quote came from M&R Sign out of Fergus Falls. They're the ones that make the street signs for the city.
Okay.
And obviously, they had a sharp pencil. The signs are aluminum, and then there's the paint on them is the reflective 3M product, 10-year guarantee.
So what I hear is we will give whatever we decide, say to the city, we're going to give 600 or whatever we decide here, and encourage the city to consider this, and if they do it, we will give money towards it.
No.
Okay. So,
So we would approach, if we agree that that's something we want to do, then we'll approach the city. And if they say, okay, we'll do it ourselves. From a cash flow standpoint, if, because it might be an internal transfer from our budget to the city budget for the polls and any potential labor, we can obviously go that route. It's a case of, I guess, the best financial ease and appropriate record keeping within the city.
Dick, are you gonna draft a letter then to the city manager to put it on the agenda to the council then? And,
I will contact him if he requires a letter. I will get him a letter, but I will definitely call him if we decide we want to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, and we have discussion. Is there a second that we pursue this?
We had a second.
We have a second. Okay, so,
Yes or no?
yes or no? Do you want, okay. Everybody in favor of Dick's motion and allowing him to continue this?
Can I ask a question for clarification for the minutes? If I can read the motion to make sure it's correct as it's written. The motion I have written says that the New Ulm Sister Cities Commission would like to propose that a sign be installed at all 4 major entry points into the city that would state, "Proud Sister Cities Partner of Ulm and
Make that
Neu-Ulm,
plural,
Germany."
Partners.
Sister Cities Partners. Is that correct?
Here, I'll shoot you this. Excuse me. Thanks, John.
Sister Cities Partners of Ulm and Neu-Ulm, Germany. That we would be, do we need to have an additional proposal with the dollars?
I wouldn't put a dollar amount on it.
Okay,
Very hand tight.
that's not necessary, okay. Then that gives us a little flexibility. And did you have a color preference, or is that, again, something that doesn't need to be part of the motion? Is it just the
I don't feel it
sign?
needs to be part of the motion. I just wanted to give more information so that people could think about it.
So again, just for clarification, that the New Ulm Sister Cities Commission would propose that a sign stating "Proud Sister Cities Partners of Ulm and Neu-Ulm, Germany" would be installed at the 4 main entry points into town.
Great.
I think it's an excellent idea. Monterey, California, they have proud sister cities. Someplace in Japan they are. But one time I was in Vancouver. Every time I see a sister city sign, I pose myself in front of it. It's a great idea. I'd like it if they let us do it.
The La Crosse City Council is working on their 8th sister city.
Oh, well, show offs.
Okay. So do we have to have a motion on the floor for Dick to move forward from the council approval? Then can somebody make a motion that Dick is the one that moves forward and reports back the final decision?
Don't we have to
Minutes.
finish this last one
Yeah,
by signifying?
Yeah, can you signify, all those in favor?
All those in,
Aye.
aye.
Okay. Opposed? Okay. Now, do I have to have a motion? All right, can someone make a motion from the floor that Dick continues this process and reports back the results of it to the commission? Let's give him September meeting as to the standing. Will that be enough time, or?
I think that should be.
Okay, and then we can move forward. So, I need a motion.
I'll offer a motion for Dick Seabooth to report back to the city council the findings of pursuing signs on all 4 corridors to the city of New Ulm.
And I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, so our next city council meeting will be Monday, September 13th, 2021, at 5:15 here in the chamber office. Meeting is adjourned.